Good afternoon, folks. It's Robert Chappell here, Executive Editor, Madison365, with your daily update for Friday. It is Friday, January 14th. The I did a double take on the numbers today. You'll remember from Tuesday into Wednesday of this week, the actual case counts, which is kind of not the most important number, but it's kind of the number we watch. Kind of stayed steady, right? They had been jumping, going up every day, and then they kind of were steady, and then yesterday they jumped up, but not a lot. I think it is my theory that if we look like Monday or Tuesday of next week, if we look back to this week, what we'll see is a steady climb in the actual positive cases that were identified each day, but that there was some slowdown in the data reporting for a couple of days, and all that data is catching up today, right? So we're getting a kind of actually a more accurate picture today of what this week has been, because we've gotten a lot more cases, a lot more tests processed and entered into the data today. That's my theory. That's what I'm thinking. I can't think of another reason that we'd have 6,000 more cases today than yesterday. Today we're reporting 19,783 new cases. Unless the wheels have completely come off, like that, that's not the actual number of new cases just today. Okay, that's new cases over the past several days. Maybe going all the way back to like Tuesday or Wednesday. And that 19,000 number, that almost 20,000 number that we're putting in, is just the number that have been entered into the data today, even though they came in, the tests were run on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week. That's my guess. We will test that theory on Monday and Tuesday next week. In any case, it's not good news. I'm not trying to explain it away or anything like that. I'm just thinking, like, that's just such a huge jump in one day. I hope that's all it is. If that's not what it is, and we're actually and it's just a normal course of business that we go from 13,000 cases yesterday to 19,000 today, we're in for a big number on Monday. But that 19,783 new tests today puts our 7-day average at 10,985. That's our first time over 10,000 on the 7-day average. That's just shy of 11,000. That means we've seen 77,000 cases in the past 7 days. That's a lot. That 7-day average is 1,000 more than it was yesterday. Yesterday it was just under 10,000. It was like 9,915. It was more than 1,000 more. So for the 7-day rolling average to jump by 1,000, that's crazy. 7-day positive test rate, though, remained pretty much the same, 28.8 today, which is catastrophically bad, right? But that's where I get that idea that this is not just a one-day influx of cases. It's just the data has finally been put in, because if that was really 19,000 brand new cases today, our positive test rate would have gone higher. That's my thought. Not that it's not too high now. Yesterday's positive test rate, which was 27.4 when we reported it yesterday, is now 29.4. Today's is 28.8, which means that today's is probably actually closer to, probably it might be over 30%. Which would be bad, which is bad. Now, all these cases don't matter as much if they're not causing hospitalizations. But they are causing hospitalizations, so that's why they're bad. 2,255 people currently hospitalized, 36 more than yesterday. So the hospitalization did come down a bit yesterday. No, I'm sorry. It came down 2 days ago and went back up yesterday. So it's up again. it's not the highest we've been this year. We were at 2,289 not so long ago. So that's an increase of 146 over the past 7 days. 485 of those currently in the ICU, which is 6 more than yesterday. Those are both going up. But here's slightly less terrible news. The ICU availability has gone up again, up to 83. Now, there are 83 ICU beds available in the entire state of Wisconsin. I never thought I would say that. That sounds like great news, but it does. That was like 63 just a couple of days ago. The only explanation for that is that elective surgeries are being postponed, and the elective surgeries does not mean not serious surgery, right? These are brain surgeries, these are cancer surgeries, these are heart surgeries that are essential for long-term care, but that aren't immediate needs, right? So with that, by postponing those, because those people coming out of those surgeries often spend a day in the ICU. After you've had your heart opened up, you need intensive care for a day or two, right? After you've had a brain tumor removed, you need intensive care for a day or two. So by postponing those, you free up some ICU beds so that they can take incoming COVID patients, most of them unvaccinated. So what sucks is postponing a brain tumor surgery just in case some unvaccinated COVID patient needs an ICU. That's where we are right now. The other number that's gone up that I don't like is the death average. 29 new deaths confirmed today. That puts our 7-day average back up to 27. It was 24 yesterday. The highest we've seen in this surge is 29. We will see that continue to go up. You know, even if less than 1% of the cases lead to fatalities, we will still see that number go up, because even if it's at 0.7 or 0.8%, we'd be looking for, we'd be looking at a month from now. Excuse me, a month from now, even if it's 0.7%, which is kind of what I think it is right now, we should see about 70 deaths per day in a month from now, which is really a lot. That would be the highest. I'm hoping that maybe it's even less than that. Maybe it's 0.5% at this point, in which case we'd still be seeing 50 deaths per day, which is really bad. So we will keep our fingers crossed on the deaths. We will look at those in about a month. Because that's when they'll all be, not all, but that's when the most of them will have been confirmed in the data. Right. So, all right, that's the COVID situation today. I've got a couple other news stories for you if you want to stick around. Don't scroll away. We will be right back right after this. All right, so a couple of things I want to mention. I've got a story up today about this new thing called the Multicultural Coalition, Inc. It's in Appleton. It is. It started out early in the pandemic as the Multicultural Communications Committee, because a couple of leaders up there realized that there were a lot of constituencies, a lot of communities who maybe don't speak English as a first language, don't interact with mainstream media, maybe don't trust government announcements for various earned reasons, right? So they just got together, representatives from lots of different ethnic groups and service agencies that serve marginalized ethnic groups, and created this communications committee to get COVID-related information to the people, right? And then once the vaccines became available a year later, like they'd been doing this stuff for already a year when the vaccines came in, they got vaccine information to those folks, and then they decided, you know what, let's just do more than that. Let's actually vaccinate people. So this group started hosting vaccine clinics, and they've already done 30 of them now, and they got about 10 more planned. So I talked with some of the leaders of this group, because what they've done is they've actually filed for nonprofit status. They're fundraising, they're hiring staff. So they become a legit, like a real live nonprofit organization, leveraging collaborations and planning to do more work on equity in the future post-COVID. Cross your fingers that there will be a post-COVID time eventually. But I talked with Dr. Pam Herr, talked with Ernesto Gonzalez, who you can see in the photo here on the right there. He's the executive director of Casa Hispana up there in Appleton. I talked with Trish Cervella from the Partnership Community Health Center. And they're really planning on tackling literacy, housing affordability, education disparities, healthcare disparities in access to healthcare. So it's something that has came out of the pandemic, but they're going to continue to work and do this work together in a collaboration because the collaborative model just works better. They're not competing for funding, right? And they're able to elevate issues into the public consciousness more effectively as together rather than separate. So it's an inspiring story. It's a good story. It's there on Madison365.org. Also, as you probably know, Monday is Martin Luther King Day. So it's technically a day off for me, but I'll probably hop on here anyway because I assume the COVID numbers will be bad. But and frankly, I want our Black staff to be off more than I want myself to be off that day. But it is a day of service for the youth, so it'll be an online virtual opportunity for kids this year. But it is happening, and Dave Dahmer, our editor-in-chief, has that story for you, as with the details on how you and your kids can get involved in the Martin Luther King Youth Day of Service. Which actually, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure that's not actually on Martin Luther King Day. I'm pretty sure it's actually tomorrow. Let me just double check that. In any case, oh no, it is Monday. Sorry, it is Monday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. MLK Day Youth Call to Service. So Dave Dahmer has that story for you. Also Monday, the noon MLK Day ceremony at the state capitol, which is the big one where all the people come and the governor comes and makes the proclamation and everything, that has been canceled. So Wisconsin Public Radio is taking up the mantle. It's just too big of the evening. This City of Madison, Dane County ceremony is going to take place virtually like it did last year. But that noon ceremony is just too big and to put it on Zoom, right? So they just canceled it. But public radio will have a whole bunch of special programming that day, led in large part by Dr. Jonathan Overby, a good friend of ours. So you can see here, if you listen to Wisconsin Public Radio at all in the past 25 years, you'll recognize the voice of Dr. Jonathan Overby. But they're going to have a couple of rebroadcasts of some things from the past. They're going to have some special programming for you on MLK Day. It's not going to replace that Capitol ceremony, all the pomp and grandeur of that ceremony, but it'll be something for you that day, because we do want MLK Day to be a day on, not a day off, right? Okay, so that's the news for today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and take good care of yourself. We'll be back Monday with some more news for you from Madison365.org. Follow us on Facebook. If you're not if you're watching this on Facebook, you probably follow us, but follow us on Twitter, Instagram as well. And always check Madison365.org for all the latest news. Take good care of yourself. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you soon.
This is 365 Media.